Hello and welcome to this episode of Peak Life. We're talking about important stuff today, getting ready for disasters. So we've got an expert here with us, Renee McKinnon from Emergency Management. Renee, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Liz. I'm excited to be here. Preparedness is extremely important year-round.
It really is, and I think so many people don't think about it until the disaster actually hits them. So we have a really easy to remember 3-step guide.
We do.
Plan, prepare, and my favorite part, activate.
I know, right? It's like
love that part.
superheroes.
Yes.
It's like activation.
So let's dive into it. Talk to me about planning. What should we be doing all year round to get ready for that inevitable emergency, whatever it might be?
Great question. So really for the planning phase, we want people to look at their family plans, especially if you have kids. You have kids, I have kids.
Yes.
You know, if the kids are in school, are they not in school? Where are they? If your spouse, where are they? So if there's going to be an incident that occurs, how are you going to get together? Where are you going to go? So that could be any time of the year, right? Just
Could be a
things
fire,
happen. Could be
you
a
know,
fire.
at your house, kind of have
Absolutely.
those conversations. Yeah.
We could get flooding. So flooding, I think a lot of people associate flooding with hurricanes only, but we're in Virginia.
Yes.
We're in coastal Virginia, and
Yes.
we get rain year-round. Nor'easters bring a lot of water and a lot of flooding. So really in that planning phase, you want to think of those things ahead of time. What would you do? What would your plan be? If you did have to evacuate, where are you going to go? So just start thinking of those things ahead of time. That's easy, right? Just
Okay.
have those discussions.
Yes, have those discussions with
Yeah.
everybody in your household.
Yes.
And like maybe I'm thinking, you know, I've got family in New Jersey. Maybe I even need to tell them, hey, I'm coming to your house
Yes.
if I lose my house, or, you know, like really start
Yes.
preparing everybody.
Yes, and even that's a great point, because when we get to prepare, that's knowing your zone, right?
Okay.
Virginia has Know Your Zones. You can look it up. It's super easy on Google. Type in your address and it's going to tell you exactly what zone you're in. All that means is if there's an evacuation or any kind of order, you need to leave that zone. And sometimes it's just finding a friend in another neighborhood. It's not always leaving Chesapeake.
That I think that sort of shift in thinking that like, hey, you don't have to
Right.
totally, because a lot of people think like, well, I don't know anybody in Richmond. I don't know
Right.
anyone, you know, outside of state, but I know someone who lives over in what happens to be Zone D. But again, let me make those plans ahead of time, right? Like
Yes.
you don't want to be calling them when the flood waters are up to your knees.
No.
Okay, so
No.
we're going to check our evacuation zone at Know Your
Yes.
Zone VA. What other kind of things do we have to prepare ahead of time to make sure that we have?
Great if you can have a preparedness kit.
Yeah.
I know that's a challenge for a lot of families, but sometimes just printing out what that list is. Ready.gov has some great material on there. If you just print out what should go in a preparedness plan, or excuse me, a preparedness kit, then a lot of the items you may have in your house, you don't have to go buy them. Do you have perishable items like macaroni and cheese?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Canned soup? I do. So sometimes just knowing where those items are, first aid kit, things like that.
Yeah.
So if there is something, you can at least grab it and you have stuff to go. So that's another big one, is having your emergency preparedness kit.
And I have to imagine for, you know, people like us, like we don't, I was going to say we don't really have a lot to worry about, which I don't know, maybe you're worried, maybe I'm worried, but you know, like we don't have any major health concerns. We're not tugging around an oxygen tank. We're not
Exactly.
worried about dialysis. Those people, for sure, the planning and preparing has got to be even more important.
Absolutely. Medications, and then
Yeah.
what about pets? I've got almost a zoo in my house.
Pets
so
too.
What am I going to do with all my pets? My dogs, my cat, whatever the case is. Those are things people need to think about ahead of time.
Yeah.
If there is an evacuation, some shelters will take pets. They just have to look it up ahead of time, make sure they're going to one that'll accept pets.
And you often have to have all the paperwork available.
Yes.
You know, so have copies of those. And I heard
Yes.
one thing, like we used to say, have the actual physical copies of your important documents, but like now you could save it on the cloud
You could, or save it on a thumb drive.
or on thumb drive
Yes.
and kind of be able to access it anywhere, which
Yes.
is nice. We got to take advantage of technology where we can.
Yes, and the biggest thing is just knowing where it's at and how to access it, because if there is some kind of disaster and unfortunately your house you can't go into or it's completely destroyed,
Yeah.
those documents are going to be so important afterwards. You're going to want to put in claims for insurance. Hopefully you have flood insurance too.
Yes, and really, so we got it at my house. I'm
Good.
outside the flood zone, super cheap.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and to talk about like what it covered, I think we paid 500 some bucks, and it covers a massive amount for the year.
It
So
does.
that really is such a weight off the shoulders, because I was shocked to hear that my homeowner's insurance and that even renter's insurance totally doesn't cover anything flooding related.
Absolutely, and
You
that's
gotta
a
read the
great
fine
point.
print.
Yeah. So renters also can go get flood insurance.
Yeah.
It's not just if you own a home, it's if you rent it. So it's one of those things we highly recommend from emergency management is get flood insurance. And don't wait, right? Because it takes 30 days to activate. So if you're thinking, oh, there's a hurricane or nor'easter and it's dumping a lot of rain, you're too late.
A little too late.
So start getting it now and look into the price. And they usually are pretty reasonable. So it'll
Yeah.
help save you and your family and your home in the future.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Now that I have it, I know I can't give it up because the year I don't do it is the year that flood
That's
will come.
right. That's
so
right.
I'm single-handedly helping Chesapeake not get flooded just by
Absolutely.
holding on to this. So. All right, and the funnest one, maybe not fun in real life because when it comes down to it, this means an emergency is happening. Activate. So the emergency is happening. What should we do to activate? What are we going to be getting into action with?
So the biggest thing is listen to your local officials, right?
Yeah.
Listen to Chesapeake. Chesapeake Alert. Hopefully you're signed up for it.
Yes, I get texts,
Good.
I get emails, and I get calls if it's really, really bad.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yes, we're going to notify you any
Yeah.
way we can. Plus, we're going to use our local news channels.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this being one of them, we'll let people know, evacuate. And what does that mean? Like we talked earlier, is it just leave your zone or is it no, you need to get out of Chesapeake completely? So definitely listen to the localities, listen to what all the officials are saying. Where do you need to go? And then that's where you're activating your plan, right?
That's right.
Your plan, hopefully
So you
have
got
your
to
plan.
make the plan, you got to know the plan,
Yes.
and then put it into action.
Yes. Yes.
Honestly, plan, prepare, activate, that makes it feel much more doable.
Good.
So
Good.
I think I have some work to do, if I'm being honest, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to
Good.
practice what we preach. But I mean, let's get on it, because especially, I got a kid to figure out. I got a pet. I got a husband. What's more challenging than all that? So I'm going to plan, prepare, and activate.
Great.
Renee, thank you so much for being here. This was a great discussion.
Thanks, Liz.
That does it for this episode of Peak Life. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.